Our service is bookended by Thanksgiving. Thanks, Chris, from George Winston, and it'll be closed on the other end by Joy by George Winston. It's a delight. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. With love at the center of all that we do, we are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, where we strive to make this world a better place for all while exploring the great mysteries of this journey called life, no matter where you come from, whomever you love, how you identify, you are welcome here. My name is Jim Shively, and I'm a worship associate for UUCB. Delivering our message today is Bobby Withrow, who volunteered to do that. Bobby is also a worship associate and moves up onto the big right chair today to deliver the sermon, and he's done a great job of coordinating all of us so we can do the support that's necessary for him. We're also trying something a little different today with the screen, and with it comes some extra work for the tech team, so I give a special thanks to them, and we've got good notes. Hopefully they'll be coordinated with us and keep along with it. We wish to acknowledge the ground upon which we meet rests on the traditional territory of the Seneca Nation, the keepers of the western door of the Haudenosaunee people, original nations of this land, who continue to call for justice and self-determination. A couple things on announcements. Saturday the 21st, 6 days from now, from 2 to 3 p.m., the UUCB choir will be joined at our church by the local professional choir vocalists for a carol along that is free and open to the public. Children's activities will be provided by our RE team along with warming drinks and snacks from the food ministry, so join us for this event 6 days from now. And Maria, I'm going to ask Maria Tester to come up and give you an update about the dynamics of our refugee family and what's going on with that. Thanks, Maria.
Good morning. I just wanted to give you a little update. For the last several weeks, we've been collecting things to furnish a house for what we thought was a family of 5 from Burma that was arriving on Friday. Thank you all. We have collected everything, extras, all the bells and whistles. We are ready to go. So the plan was we were going to clean the house on Wednesday, move in on Thursday, and the family would arrive on Friday. Well, we cleaned on Wednesday. Thank you to all the folks who helped with that. That was great. Thursday, we had a snowstorm. We also found out that our poor family from Burma could not arrive. They were canceled at the last minute. So they have given us the next family in line who is from the Congo, and they have 3 toddlers. So we did not collect anything for toddlers. But given that we were delayed by the snow, we have had time to collect a whole lot of more things for that family. And thank you, everybody who has responded in just the last couple days running around with that. So the plan is now we're going to move the family's things in on Monday. That's tomorrow. So we're going to meet here at 9 a.m. to drive the things over. We have a big pile of stuff. We also have things in our cars. So if you're interested, I think we have a lot of folks, but there's always room for one more if you want to help. So see me after church, and thank you. I should say that International Institute thinks that our church is awesome, and that we have provided like all the things, all the bells and whistles, and then that we've been very pleasant to deal with. They have also been pleasant to deal with. So thank you all. And I'll just note that these things are going to Journey's End for other refugees, and they are going, I believe, tomorrow. So today is the last day to bring things in for that. So thank you.
Showing resilience. Okay, one other thing. I'll hypnotize you by swinging this back and forth. We have church Christmas ornaments available for purchase in the parish hall after the service today. I bought mine before the service today, and we're asking for a $10 to $20 donation for each of them, so you can see Kurt to buy one at the table out there. So keep that in mind. And as always, other announcements can be found in the e-blast or on the church's website. Take a moment now to greet your neighbor. Please get comfortable in this space. If you feel like sitting there and meditating, you can do that also. So mingle amongst yourselves for a minute, please. Say some hi.
And now, let us enter into a spirit of worship. We gather together this morning with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists around the world. All gather in the hope of making this world better. All gather in the hope of being made better. All gather in the hope of doing better. All gather in hope. We gather to strengthen the relationship between ourselves and our world. We gather to celebrate for all that is our lives, the good, the bad, the funny, the sad, the tiresome, the joyful, and the enlightening. In the darkest and coldest of times, there is a warmth in our community. Come, let us worship together on this cold day.
Each week, Unitarian Universalists around the world gather and light a chalice, the symbol of our free faith. Please rise in body or spirit as we speak our chalice lighting words as printed in your order of service and on the screen, hopefully above me, which, by the way, we can't see. Join with me. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world. And now let us sing hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. It's in the gray hymnal. The words will also be projected on the screen.
I invite all of the kids, the young at heart, and those who can get up off the floor without any assistance to come up and have our story for all ages. Okay. Hi, everyone. So this morning's story is called Just Ask, which was written by the Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. Yep. Hi, I'm Sonia. My friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together, but every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, different color, different shape, and different purpose. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better off left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile, and others are more hardy. Kids are all different too. Some of us are in a hurry, and others take more time. Some of us seem shy and quiet, while others are chatty and loud. Some of our differences are easy to spot, others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way, so if you are curious about other kids, just ask. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes, and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this sometimes hurts, I gather all of my courage to do it to be healthy. Do you ever need to take medicine to be healthy? And I'm Anthony, and I have a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. How do you get from place to place? My name is Madison, and my guide dog Lucky helps me get places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our other senses and notice lots of details others may miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. How do you use your senses? I'm VJ. I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. I also love reading and writing. What about you? I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting all my toy dinosaurs again and again makes me feel calm. My classmate Tiana also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk. But I like to talk. I especially like to talk about dinosaurs. What do you like to talk about? Wow. My name is Manuel, and I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is also called ADHD. I can get frustrated when I really feel the need to move around, even though I'm supposed to sit still. When my teachers and friends are patient with me, if I forget something or get distracted, I can get myself back on track. What's helpful to you? I love to sing and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I was born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies. But we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything any other kid can do. The learning new things can take some time. One way I learn is to ask questions. What helps you learn? It's me, Sonia, again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers, and they help me understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all of the plants in this garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we only could grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. It might also mean no trees or roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world really, more interesting and fun. And just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it more interesting and richer. What will you do with your powers? The end. So, my question to all of you guys up here, what was your favorite part of the story? Or what did you like the best? Did anyone have a favorite part? Yeah.
I would like to say everything. And how do you make the chicken cross the road?
How do you?
Because
Anyone else? Yeah? Hold on.
I like the blind people's point of view because it's really interesting to hear what they do to get around.
Okay, so you liked hearing about the people who are blind and how they get around. Cool. Anyone else? Yeah?
I like planting flowers.
You like planting flowers? I do too. We have a lot of them.
The flower.
Yeah? Anyone else? Okay. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And now, let's sing all of our kids to their classes.
That's my favorite part of the whole thing, by the way. Each week we take a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and we give it away to a deserving social justice cause or an organization outside these church walls. This month we're supporting and highlighting the good work of Western New York Mobile Overdose Prevention Services. Mobile OPS is providing mobile access to harm reduction training for more than 7,000 individuals, families, schools, community, and faith-based organizations like ours throughout all zip codes in Western New York to reduce opioid overdose deaths. That nonprofit survival is based on establishing, building, and maintaining trusted community partnerships that support opioid overdose prevention, recovery, and access to treatment because, as their director said when she was here a couple weeks ago, saving lives has never been easier. To donate, go to our website, click on the donate button, and from there you can select if you want to donate to the church or the WNY Mobile OPS. You can drop money in the offering plate, send in a check, arrange for an automatic contribution from your checking account. You can also scan the QR code, which hopefully is on the screen above. No matter what way, know that the money helps us and our partners to live out our missions to help those in our community. Let this morning's offering be taken up with humility to support the good work.
Amen.
Just kidding.
Light, fire, blazes, illumination. So pulling the theme together, you sang, "May I Sing with Bravest Fire." Now our reading is about light and blazes and candles, and as you've looked ahead, the fire within will be the theme of Bobby's sermon. This morning's reading is by Reverend D. Scott Cooper, Associate Minister at the First UU Church of Houston. It's called "To Light the Darkness and Begin Again." There is a glow far off in the distance, a light to which no path leads. We know that each time we help another or join with them to heal the world, each time we stand up for justice and what is right, each time we work and hope and love against all the odds, a spark is created that adds to the intensity of the light. We join with others who see and turn toward the glow. As we travel toward that beacon, the underbrush of indifference is flattened and a path is created. Hang on. More are led to join us, and obstacles are kicked away, and a road is formed. Many approach the light, strengthened by our works, and we join them to each light a candle. Although many candles are lighted, that blaze never diminishes. We travel out into the world again to light the darkness and begin again. The cycle continues. Our work intensifying the glow, our joining with others to travel to the blaze and light our candles again. We continue knowing that one day we, or our grandchildren, or perhaps their grandchildren, will no longer travel that widened and trodden path to light a candle, because dawn has arrived. Justice is commonplace, and poverty is vanquished, and the beloved community stands illuminated in the fullness of daylight.
We take time in the middle of our service to pause and to remember what all we bring with us. The good, the bad, the joyous, the sadness. All of us have come here today for some reason, and let us bring to mind that reason. Let us also remember that the longest night of the year is nearly upon us, and remember that without that night, we would have no day. The longest night is just a moment of time, one that passes by as we continue towards the day. And as we pass into the light of a new day, we hope we see the world has gotten better. And if it has not, then may that light give us strength to make it better. Today we hold in our hearts and our minds Doug Sherman and Eve Holberg and their family after Doug passed away this past week. Doug was a staunch supporter of this church and its people. Let his memory be a blessing. No matter the emotion inside of you today, give it space and let it out into the world. And now let us fill the world with the names of those who need lifting up out of the darkness and the names of those who are already there. As we sit here, the names spoken out into the ether, let us think, hope, and dream of a better world where all of us are raised into the light. May it be so.
The people that walked in darkness people that walked in darkness have seen a great light, have seen a great light. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. The people that walked in darkness, that walked in darkness. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light, have seen a great light, a great light, have seen a great light. And they that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, and they that dwell in the land, that dwell in the land of the shadow of death. Upon them hath the light shined, and they that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. Upon them hath the light
You know, before I get started with the sermon, I just want to thank everyone who helped put this service together. You know, putting a service together is not just the couple people up here. I mean, it is us, it's all the musicians, it's our staff, it's our tech crew, it's the food ministry. So just 1,000 thanks to everyone who helps put a service together. When I originally agreed to give today's sermon, I was going to talk about the winter solstice. Something about how you can't have light without dark, talk about different cultures and their views on the solstice, specifically the Wiccan and pagan views, because they have always fascinated me. But I decided to go a different way. So my apologies to any of you who were hoping for that kind of a sermon. I think it would have been a good one. I'm hoping it would have been a good one once I figured all of it out. Okay, so also, here's a hot take that most of you won't agree with me. This is the best time of the year. You can be at home with the lights on and not see anything outside because it gets so dark so early. You're there, just existing in your own little world for a time. The introvert in me, obviously, loves that idea. I can just rest and recharge until tomorrow, when in the light of day, I see everything that has to be done, whether that's on my to-do list or greater injustices out in the world, neither of which ever seem to get any lesser. Though liking the dark does make me feel a little bit like Ebenezer Scrooge. Charles Dickens describes him with this quote, "Darkness was cheap, and Scrooge liked it." I've always liked that line, especially my favorite version of A Christmas Carol, the Muppet one. Thank you. If you have not seen that version, you can. So Michael Caine, he only actually took that role on because he wanted something that his family could actually see for the first time. But he also took on that role on the condition that they performed it as if the Muppets were just doing like a Shakespearean play. They actually made it serious instead of him interacting with all of them. But anyway, but I digress. Darkness was cheap, and Scrooge liked it. Now that line has two meanings. The first one being about the miserly qualities of not illuminating a space to save money. That makes sense from an economical and sustainable point of view, and I wholeheartedly endorse those as a power engineer who sees the proliferation of power-hungry data centers as being a huge threat to the stability of our power grid. I know I sometimes go off on these random tangents when I am up here. You probably did not expect to hear the person giving the sermon talking about data centers today, but here we are. The description of Scrooge also has a second meaning that is a lot deeper than just being cheap. The second meaning is an observation on the cheapness of being dark. What I mean is that in this case, dark does not mean the lack of light, but it implies being emotionless, spreading fear, and sowing discord. Dickens uses the cold and dark in A Christmas Carol to describe how Scrooge is. It's the perfect foil to show how a person should be. Scrooge must change. Through the visits from the four ghosts, yes, there are four ghosts. Most people forget about Marley at the beginning. 5 if you watch the Muppet one. Scrooge is able to change and keep Christmas in his heart the whole year. And in the original story and all the adaptations, there's this feast at the Cratchit's house at the end, with food aplenty, warmth from the fire, and all the people gathered there, and an overwhelming sense of faith and goodness, with a changed Scrooge at the head of the table as the honored guest and supplier of the feast. The first edition of A Christmas Carol came out in 1843, with the first printing selling out in only 5 days. It's credited with changing the spirit of Christmas into some of the celebration of today, especially with the charitable giving. It's also one of my favorite Christmas stories, a tale of good triumphing through redemption. Scrooge went through a tumultuous night in the hopes of him being able to change, and he did, for the better. This story gives me strength in that there will always be hope in the world. I thought about it shortly after the election last month. I have never felt so sick to my stomach about something like I did that night. I couldn't focus in the evening. My husband and I, we sat down and ended up watching a movie about zombies because there wasn't anything else that we could do. And even then, we kept checking the results from the Associated Press the whole time. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I woke up sick, tired, and worried. I worry about everything, just ask Kurt. But this was a different type of worrying. I worry about things I cannot control, but this was something I felt viscerally. Later the next day, I realized that I had actually gone through the 5 stages of grief. Denial, the difficulty of accepting the reality of a loss. Anger, a natural response that can be directed at many sources. Bargaining can happen before or after a loss and can involve if only thinking. Depression, a normal and appropriate response to loss, but is often seen as unnatural. And then acceptance, learning to live with with the loss and acknowledging that sorrow and joy can coexist. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to go through those stages of grief. But it makes sense, for I was grieving my hope for my country and the world. Now, the 5 stages of grief are not necessarily uniform. People go through them differently in terms of order and time. Grief is not linear. We all know that based upon deaths of family and friends we've experienced. The last stage I know I went through was anger. I'm not usually an angry person. At work, I'm actually known for being calm under any circumstance, and I don't even complain. Now, here I am making these big pronouncements at breakfast over my daily bowl of Cheerios about the state of the country and questioning everything I believe in about the essential goodness of others and how something like this could happen with the near-fascist zealot of an egotistical, intellectually lacking man winning. For me, the night with this darkness has come too early. I don't like how I'm feeling. There's some of that anger still. It's still inside me, burning bright. I feel that anger, that fire in the pit of my stomach. With it, I know I must do something. I must use the fire within. You know, I've said it before from this pulpit. Our religion, our faith, is not for the lazy. For it requires us to do something, anything, to make things in this world better. You know, one of the quotes we often use is, "We need not think alike to love alike." Another one is deeds, not creeds. And I know that that anger in my stomach, that fire inside, won't help anyone. Not those of us in the sanctuary right now, not those outside of these walls, or myself. But I will take that fire and use it to light the way, light my own path to do better. Now, I'm not one for protesting. I've told you guys this before, sending letters, emails, or making phone calls. This is the introvert in me coming out again. I prefer to organize behind the scenes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the fire within me to drive my work. Unitarian minister Theodore Parker said this: "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice." MLK riffed on that and said this, paraphrased: "I know you are asking today, how long will it take? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult that moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth crushed to earth will rise again. Not long, because no lie can live forever. Not long, because you shall reap what you sow. Not long, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." So here's my question for all of you sitting here today. What will you do to bend the arc? How will you use the fire within you to light your own path? What will be your commitment to the world? How will you live out our Unitarian Universalist faith to follow in the footsteps of our progressive and activist forebears to use justice and pluralism, interdependence, generosity, equity, and transformation to place love at the center of all that you do? I've got a couple ideas. One, if you don't know enough about a subject, read a couple first-hand accounts from people within marginalized communities. Talk to your neighbors, your friends, and coworkers. Find a particular cause you want to help with. Donate your time, treasure, or talent to that cause. You don't have to focus on some macro problem affecting millions. You can focus on a micro issue that you feel passionate about. Maybe there's some small organization in your neighborhood you like. Maybe you want to help more with the church. Maybe you just want to figure out what you want to get involved with. We need people to become heroes. Heroes who dare to dream of a better world and then make it so. Even though the road is long and the work is tough, there's a line from the West Wing TV show that fits here. Every time we think we have measured our capacity to meet a challenge, we look up and we're reminded that the capacity may well be limitless. This is a time for American heroes. We will do what is hard. We will achieve what is great. This is a time for American heroes, and we reach for the stars. Those stars are little balls of fire, basically, and in this long and darkest night, there is a light at the end of it. The same light born each day, the promise of a better time to come. Now that fire within you is your own morning light. Let that fire fill you up with the heat of 1,000 suns and let your righteousness burn bright. Turn righteous anger into fuel for your just works, your needed works, your works to make a better world. Don't quench that fire. Let it spread to your whole self, body, and soul. Then let it spread to others. Together we will banish this darkness for the promise of a better day, a better time, and a better future. Because that, everyone, is what it will be when we commit with bravest fire to do this work. So just take a second and sit there. Kind of just close your eyes and think. That fire within you, what will you turn it out into? What will you use it to light going forward? What will be your work? Whatever you do, remember that whatever we do it with bravest fire to do that work. May it be so, because it must be so, and it will be so. Let us commit, and by doing so, let's also sing hymn number 1028 in your teal hymnals, The Fire of Commitment. The words will also be on the screen above me.
Please join me in speaking our words to extinguish our chalice, printed in your order of service and on the screen above. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world, in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
On this cold and dark Sunday, with love at the center of all that we do, let us use the fire within to guide us on a path to a brighter tomorrow. May you go forth from this place, knowing that you are good and knowing that you are loved. May you go out from among your community blessed and be a blessing to others. Though we have extinguished the flame of our chalice, we have not extinguished the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. Let your light carry you forward and lead you along the path of justice. May it be so, and let the church say, Amen.